Welcome to the Teachers on Fire podcast, where 21st century educators come to share, learn, and be inspired. We believe in the growth mindset, creativity, communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and strategic uses of education technology. Our mission is to share news and views from teachers who are crushing it in the classroom and making a difference for learners everywhere. I'm your host, Tim Cavey. Let's jump into today's episode. Today I'm speaking with Lynn Thomas. Lynn is an English teacher, certified Microsoft Office specialist, Microsoft Innovative Educator expert and master trainer, global ambassador for Be the Change, Take the Challenge, a Flipgrid innovator, and a passionate supporter of teaching the Sustainable Development Goals. Lynn, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Are you ready to talk education?
You bet.
Why don't you start by telling us about your current teaching or education situation?
Well, I live in Dunnville, Ontario, and teach at the local high school, Dunnville Secondary School. Dunnville is a pretty small rural town right along Lake Erie in Ontario. There's about 12,000 people in the town and surrounding area. Currently, I am the acting department head of English Moderns and Library and a digital lead learner with my school board.
Fantastic. That sounds like a good mix of activities. Tell us about a low moment that you faced, Lynn, in your teaching or education career and how you overcame it.
Well, this isn't specifically teaching. It was, I guess, would be considered more of a low moment personally, but it definitely affected my teaching and my outlook in teaching as well. 14 years ago, my 5-year-old son was diagnosed with Burgess lymphoma. And so that was pretty rough, obviously. And he is completely fine. He's now a dad, But anyway, needless to say, he was just on the mend and got cleared cancer-free. And my mother was then diagnosed for the 4th time with cancer, and this time it was terminal. And in the midst of her treatments, my father died. So it was a real rough patch for me. And then after my father died, 5 months later, my mother passed away. So at that point, you can appreciate teaching was kind of at the back of my mind in a sense. So it gave me a lot of emotional turmoil and really made me rethink a lot of things in the way I do things and outlooks. And primarily the whole experience really underscored the importance of support systems and the importance of having administrators who, are understanding and how they treat people and support people, right up to senior administration, board administration. It can make or break, personal situations like that. It can make life easier or a lot more difficult. So I guess I keep that in the back of my mind all the time.
What a story, Lynn. Thank you for sharing that. And I completely agree. And I've experienced a little bit of that myself. Yeah, I like what you said, that administrators can really make or break a situation. And staff members, teachers, educators are people too. And they do bring all kinds of personal conflict and trauma into the workplace sometimes, whether they like to or not. And yes, having that administrator there who offers grace and support and care through those experiences really makes all the difference in the world. So thanks for sharing that. What is it, Lynn, that excites you about education today? This could be a big picture idea, and I know you've got lots of those going on, or it could be a small time or a micro level practice happening right there in the classroom.
Well, I'm really, really excited about Sustainable Development Goals and the ability that we now have through technology to make connections like we are today, in fact, across the country, and but with that between students globally. I think it's got so much power to give our students and help them in their life and in their outlook on the world. And that is just really, really cool for me. And it's why I've joined the Be the Change, Take the Challenge project with Barb Zelonka in Norway, and where we will be looking at the Sustainable Development Goals and basically teach anything through that lens and just give a different outlook on the world and how we fit in it and how we can help. So Be the Change, Take the Challenge is a global collaborative project for middle and high school students. Teachers can join. You can find links on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn through any of the ambassadors like myself or Barb Zelonka, etc. And basically, it starts the 1st of September this fall and runs through till April of next year. So it is just teaching your students the Sustainable Development Goals, making connections with the other classes that are in the project throughout the time, and developing speeches and video productions to share with other people all over the world.
Fantastic. And just keeping an eye on your Twitter account, I know you're an active promoter of Skype and sort of engaging through that platform as well. So that's something I would really like to take a deeper look at. And again, that's Be the Change, Take the Challenge. Lynn, outside of education, what's another area of passion and personal learning for you?
Well, I take a very relaxed view of life outside of teaching. So
Okay.
I really like kicking back and reading a good historical fiction. And I'm an avid knitter and quilter, and I really love cooking for my large family. So yeah, I take a pretty relaxed approach to life outside of education. So like my garden, and that's about what I do.
You know, I'm not a green thumb myself, but I have some friends who are, and, you know, they talk about how good it is. It's just incredibly cathartic, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. It's connecting back to our roots, I think.
No pun intended.
Enjoy that pun.
Yeah. Lynn, share about a personal habit that contributes to your success.
I think the biggest one for me is the fact that I am really, really curious. And I guess from a negative perspective, you could say I get bored easily. But for me, it works. And it just means that I have a drive to learn new things and try new things. And I did spend quite a while where I was kind of scared to try new things. And thankfully, I got over that. And it's really, well, we say gardening is cathartic, and this is kind of the same from a different perspective, where this is just really an excellent place to be for me, where I can try new things with my students and learn right alongside them. And so that curiosity really keeps me on my toes and moving. And I love it. It's really engaging. It's sort of pointless to try all these new things if you don't stop and kind of take a little bit of an assessment and figure out, is it working? What can I do to improve it? So self-reflection goes hand in hand with the curiosity. And I've started doing a lot more of that through my blog and just, personal self-reflection to make sure that I'm not just doing things to do something new and then not revisiting the impact that it had or how successful it was for my students and how to tweak it and make it better.
That's excellent, Lynn. And is there a particular journal or format that you use, or is it just sort of freestyle writing and blogging that you utilize for that self-reflection piece?
Well, I have a personal journal that I just take a lot of jot notes in, just to follow up when I'm doing things. But I also do a little more formalized reflection in my blog posts when I try new things or am involved in different platforms, tools, projects, etc., and reflect on my experience with them.
That's fantastic. And I'm learning to sort of get into more of that self-reflection as well. If you surf on over to Lynn's blog, wordsgrow.wordpress.com, and we'll repeat that address at the end of the interview, but she's got a great picture of The Walking Dead on her most recent post. And it's just all about disengagement, but I really appreciated the humor there, and you had a lot of good thoughts to share. So do encourage the listeners.
Thank you.
Yeah, do encourage the listeners to go over to wordsgrow.wordpress.com and check that out. So, Lynn, we're moving into some rapid fire recommendations. Would love to hear your top picks. Let's start at Twitter. What's one education leader that we should be following there?
Well, I have two. I cheat. Sure. So I would say Koen Timmers at Self-Study. Okay. He was one of the top 10 global educators with the Barkey Foundation and the Global Teacher Prize this past year. Actually, he's been chosen in the top 10 the last 2 years. And he is doing some absolutely amazing things globally with projects and collaborations. He's run 2 different projects this year. I was involved with both of them with him, actually, the Climate Action Project and the Innovation Project. But I guess the thing that really gets me is he started a project called Project Kakuma, where he has now built a force of 150 or more educators who Skype teaching lessons to the refugee camp in Kenya.
Wow.
And it is just absolutely amazing. He started by sending his own personal laptop and has built it to now where he has actually teamed with another teacher in the United States, and they built using 3D printers solar suitcases. So the size of a suitcase that they could unfold, and they built them for like $350, and on the market something equitable is over $3,000, so that they could have some infrastructure to be able to have internet and Skype and everything and lights in the school in Kakuma. So I think that is just the most amazing thing I've ever heard. And I'm really, I'm really excited to be part of that. I'm one of the educators, and so soon I'll be, teaching English to people at the Kakuma refugee camp, and it's just mind-boggling to me. And that's what I mean by I'm so excited about how collaboration and global connections through technology has just made things explode. It's so cool.
And then was there a second one that you wanted to mention as well, Lynn?
Yes, actually, he's a more local for me. He is a fellow educator in my board and part of my digital lead learner team. But Andrew Campbell at A Campbell 99 is one of the most interesting men I've met. And he is such a deep thinker. And I really, really appreciate how he analyzes everything from every angle. He's very avid blogger and on Twitter, and very involved with a lot of stuff, does a lot of work with CBC radio when they do education spots, etc. He just really pushes the boundaries to make you think about why do we do what we do, and the ramifications of tech or cell phone use, etc. has for students and teaching. And I really love following him and knowing him, because he challenges your thinking and forces you to really consider all angles.
That's excellent. And I think every good PLN should have some of those clear voices that are sort of, as you said, speaking from the sidelines, from other perspectives, offering some analysis or some other takes. And, as this world of technology, as this world of technology sort of unfolds, and we embrace a lot of the tremendous opportunities that technology offers, we still need that social critique as well, and that's really important. Lynn, you are a certified Microsoft Office specialist, innovative educator expert, and master trainer. I think you might be pointing us to a Microsoft product here, but what's one edtech tool that we need to be thinking about using in our practice?
Well, yes, it's a Microsoft product, and it's what got me started in the whole digital movement, I guess, and joining the digital lead learners. And it's a Microsoft product called OneNote.
Mm-hmm.
It's virtually a digital binder, but the capabilities that they have built into it are just phenomenal. And not just for organization. You can share them globally. It has built-in accessibility tools and learning tools, translators. It is a really phenomenal product, and they keep improving it. So you can have class notebooks and share with your students, and with different sections that they can have their own personal notebook that no one else sees other than them and the teacher, as well as other sections that they can all collaborate together in. So I really like organization. So that was my first love. And that's what got me started on the whole journey of becoming a digital lead learner, which is really, fostered my curiosity and been a real platform for diving in, I guess.
Well, Lynn, that makes a lot of sense, and I think you've done a great job summarizing the capacity that OneNote offers edtech leaders and educators in the classroom. Next, would you recommend a book, maybe one that you've been reading lately or one of your all-time faves, and tell us why you recommend it?
Well, I'm going to say George Couros' Innovator's Mindset. It was one of the first books I've read, PD-oriented books that I just couldn't put down. I don't know, when I started teaching, they were all boring. So they were like reading a textbook. So this one, it was really where I couldn't put it down. It also was one where, as I was reading it, he had an iMOOC, so a massive open online course, just for the book over Twitter. And so I joined it. And again, it was one of those moments where it's what prompted me to start blogging and doing a lot more self-reflection. Teach Like a Pirate by Dave Burgess is just really, really fun. I love it as well. If George got me thinking about self-reflection and how to, try new things and started me on the path, Dave Burgess took it to the next level, I guess, where it was like, this can be fun. How else can you look at teaching like a pirate except make it fun and enjoyable, be a joyous experience? And I think our students deserve that, and they get joy out of it too, if you can do that, and they find it more engaging. And it only takes little things to make it a little more piratey, I guess. So how to have fun with it, Okay, instead of just reading the book, okay, let's all sit on the floor and read it with the lights out and a flashlight on, like we're out camping. Yeah. It's just a little bit of creative thought, changes it up just enough that the students are now re-engaged.
Lynn, if you're a podcast listener, point us to a podcast that we should add to our list.
Well, here in Ontario, anyway, Steve Hurley and Voice Radio is kind of the place to be, I think. He really has an excellent podcast. It's been going on for quite some time. It's the breadth and depth are stunning. So he's definitely worth a listen, talking about everything new, old, up and coming, in every angle of education.
That sounds awesome. Tell us about a YouTube channel that you enjoy, and this might be one that you employ in your professional practice, or it might be one that you enjoy for your own personal amusement.
Well, I don't follow a lot of YouTube channels. Most of what I do look at is for to use in the classroom, and I just keep going back to TED Talks. They're excellent and cover every topic. The fact that they are so well done and cover every topic. I just love that aspect. And the fact too that you can find so many that are not an hour long, right. They can be short, and which, with student attention spans is important consideration.
That's true. That is an honest acknowledgement. Lynn, this has been fantastic. I'm incredibly grateful for you sharing your time with the listeners today. What are the best ways for people to follow you and get to know you a little bit better?
Well, I am very active on Twitter. So at TomLynn101 is my Twitter handle. And if you want to read more about my reflections, my blog post is wordsgrow.wordpress.com, and that's about it. I'm also on LinkedIn, but I could not even begin to tell you what that link looks like. But you can search me up.
All right, will do. I'll see if I can connect with you there. Lynn, thank you again, and we wish you all the best as you close out the school year.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the invitation. It's been a riot. I love it.
Awesome. Well, take care, Lynn, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much, Tim. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Teachers on Fire, where teachers come to share, learn, and be inspired. Please subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review on iTunes, and follow us on Twitter at Teachers on Fire. I'm your host, Tim Cavey, saying goodbye for now, and we'll catch you next time, right here on the Teachers on Fire podcast.